Watch the hands, the number one threat indicator civilians miss. If you want to stay safe, protect your family, and avoid being blindsided, there is one rule you must follow in every environment. Watch the hands. Hands will hurt you faster than anything else. Hands reveal intent long before the face does. And hands are the quickest way to know whether someone might attack you or if they're just existing in the same space. This is episode 3 of the OODA Masterclass, and today we're going into the skill that law enforcement relies on more than any other, and the one civilians ignore the most. You can tell almost everything you need to know about a stranger's intentions by watching their hands, because people strike with their hands, people stab with their hands, people shoot with their hands, people grab, shove, choke, steal, and control with their hands. No one attacks you with their head or their foot alone, unless they're close enough to headbutt you or kick you, of course. The hands do the damage typically. In law enforcement, watching people's hands wasn't a tip, it wasn't optional. It was step one on every call, every approach, every unknown situation. Your eyes can lie, facial expressions can lie, words can lie, hands rarely lie. This is why in Defend Confidently, I emphasize the OODA loop and the orientation stage so heavily, because the fastest way to orient properly is to put priority where it belongs, on the hands. When I say that hands were everything in police work, I mean everything. If a person's hands were visible, I could predict their behavior. If their hands disappeared, every alarm bell went off. We were always taught hands in pockets could be reaching, hands hidden behind the body could be concealing, hands clenched could be preparing to strike, hands adjusting waistband could be drawing, hands repeatedly going to a bag could be accessing a weapon, hands shaking or fidgeting could be emotional or escalating, hands open, relaxed, visible, usually low threat. Learning this wasn't fear, wasn't paranoia, it was discipline. And it's a skill that absolutely applies to civilian life. Here's why civilians miss this. They get distracted. They look at faces, they look at phones, clothing, direction, eye contact, social cues. All of that matters, but none of it matters more than the hands. Most civilians have never been trained to prioritize what matters. They give attention to everything equally, and that destroys orientation. Watching the hands gives your brain early warning, predictive capability, faster decision making, better reactions, and a clearer threat assessment. This is how you stay ahead of danger instead of responding after it's already happening. Here are 5 hand behaviors that signal danger. Every civilian should know these, every parent, every concealed carrier, every person who wants to protect themselves. Number 1, hidden hands. Hands going behind the back, into pockets or into bags. People hide what they don't want you to see. It could just be someone who's nervous and puts their hands in their pocket out of habit. Or it could be worse. Number 2, re-gripping or fidgeting. Adjusting waistband, checking pockets repeatedly. This can indicate a concealed weapon. Number 3, hands clenching or what we call pre-strike movements. A tight fist, flexing fingers, rubbing palms together. These are often signs someone is preparing to hit. Number 4, hands reaching while approaching. Someone walking towards you while reaching for something. Major red flag. Number 5, hands raised in a pacifying gesture. This one surprises people. The I don't want any trouble hands can be a distraction movement. Some attackers use it to get close before striking. In police work, we learn very quickly that hands predict behavior. In civilian life, learning to notice these cues gives you valuable seconds. So how does watching the hands fit into the OODA loop? Observe. Look for hand behavior first. Orient. Prioritize what the hands are telling you. Decide. Make a plan. Move. Speak. Create distance. De-escalate. And finally, act. Execute that decision early, not late. Hands are the fastest way to orient the situation correctly. You can misread eyes, you can misread tone, you can misread posture, but you rarely misread hands. Hands tell the truth. If you carry concealed, this skill separates good decisions from catastrophic ones. Watching the hands tells you whether you need to position yourself differently, whether this is a threat or a misunderstanding, whether you need to create distance, whether you need to escape, or whether this is a situation where no force is justified. A concealed carrier is responsible for more than their own safety. They have to identify threats early, act legally, and avoid unnecessary conflict. Hands give you the information you need. So how do we train this in daily life? You can build this skill everywhere, every day with zero effort. When someone walks towards you, look at their hands. When you're in a store, glance at hands instead of phones. In a parking lot, watch what people's hands are doing. On a walk, track the hands of anyone approaching. While waiting in line, scan for concealed hands. Build the habit of checking hands before checking faces. This becomes automatic, part of your OODA loop, and it changes the way you move through the world. Watching the hands is the fastest way to improve your situational awareness and stay ahead of danger. It doesn't take paranoia, it doesn't take special training, it takes discipline and awareness. If you want a deeper dive into the OODA loop, threat detection, and building real-world situational awareness, I break it down step by step in my book, Defend Confidently. Stay tuned for the next video in this series, folks. In the meantime, stay safe, stay aware, and as always, defend confidently.